Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Leo, November 2024 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, Clairvoyant. Well, we have a great deck for you this month. It's all about vampires, lots of pretty women, lots of handsome men. It's very romantic. Something in there for everybody, I'm sure. Now, we shall draw 5 cards in just a second because that's all that we need to get them to speak to us. Now, you know that I provide clairvoyant readings to people from all over the world over FaceTime and Skype. And if you're interested in that, check out the information that's in the description below. Now, there's another gift which I charge for the clairvoyant readings. What I do not charge for is another gift that I was given at birth, and that is the gift of healing. You may say that, well, if you don't charge for it, it can't be any good. It's a waste of time. It doesn't work. Well, actually, it doesn't work if I do charge for it or get anything for it. That's just how it is. So, I am to offer it to people who seek it, and I am to have attached to it no payment, no obligation, no expectation. And if it speaks to you, you may have an emotional issue or something, then check out the information. It's in the description, and contact me. I set aside time each day to perform healings. And let's see what's going on here. I might mention that we don't have any video advertisements breaking into this content, and so you get to enjoy the entire reading direct without any commercial interruption. Now, let's take some of these cards. As I say, I think we need 5. Show me the magic. Queen of Knives. 4 of Scepters. Pretty women there to start with, I may say. Ace of Knives. Wonderful. Here is the 5 of Skulls. And finally, what might there be? Here is the 3 of Skulls. Right. Why don't I bring the camera around? You and I can have a good close look at the imagery on these cards together while the cosmic energies swirl and speak to us both, and I'll do the reading for you. Wow, a lot going on. It looks like it's going to be very successful for you this month. Great power coming to you here is what I see. Power, control, getting things done, brilliant power, inspiration, almost a divine inspiration using your mind. What is this that seems to be sitting underneath this knives of air? And air esoterically is no good, destroys skulls, which is earth as I take it. And so this card is very much weakened, and we'll find out why when we look at the painting on it here. Well, here is the lady vampire sitting, well, almost like a victim backwards at night. Well, without daylight anyway, with this thing approaching here. And do you know what this is? I think that this is not real, rather it is a product of her own mind, and it is just paralyzing her. I think it could well be worry, because I'm getting the astrological attributes here of Mercury in the first decan of Taurus, the 20th to the 30th of April. Well, Mercury, you know, is that planet closest to the sun, and it flies around and it's very quick, it's very speedy, and it's the power of the intellect, Mercury, of the mind, and so your mind is the forefront here. And I think Mercury is being weighed down by that fixed sign of Earth, which is plodding, heavy, slow Taurus. So there could be a time here where there are some cares that you are worrying about, almost something to the degree of pessimism in a way. It's as if something's fallen out of balance. Now, is there some situation in your life which is stagnant, or is it loaded up with lots of tension? You may well think that sorting out that thing looks impossible now because although Mercury is the planet of communication, you feel as if your ability to get your point across and to find out information via communication is slowed down. Maybe there is a relationship which is in your mind threatening to break apart, and your energy is blocked. Your thoughts keep revolving around finding a solution, a way out, a breakthrough. To you, things maybe seem hopeless. There is a sense that there is a situation at hand where you've got problems expressing your feelings. Emotional worries, perhaps. I think maybe you don't feel supported enough because worries, when they are shared with people, you receive peace and support. But look at this, the background light has been stifled, hasn't it? And your life light is not shining through, or at best might seem as if it is somewhat scattered. Are you losing your faith in something, feeling down on your luck, giving up on your beliefs? Worries, feeling that setbacks will come about, feeling that things are not going to work out. Do you know, quite coincidentally, I had lunch last weekend with a man who it was for his 90th birthday party, and he said to me, "Do you know, Nigel, I've had a lot of troubles in my life, none of which ever happened. But is there some situation that's been going on for some time, is what I'm feeling, that you haven't properly dealt with? Just take action and deal with it. You might be concerned about whether you're getting yourself into something that you can't get out of. But remember, worrying is taking on a trouble of tomorrow that doesn't exist. It's taking on the rock of tomorrow and carrying it when no rock exists, and it weighs you down today. Worry robs you of the present, and in your life, all you have is the present. Now you might ask yourself, how would your life be different if you stopped worrying about things that you could not control and actually started focusing on the things you can control? Sorrow looks back. Worry looks around. Have faith in yourself, because faith looks up. Do you know, it's really hard to live in and enjoy the moment when you're thinking about the past or worrying about the future. You can't change your past, but you can ruin your present by worrying about something which might, but you know from your past experience never will happen in the future. Never let the future disturb you. You always meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of strength, charisma, and power which you have, and which you have as your armaments, protecting you against the present. But I have no doubt that because this has shown up, you are now ready to look at your thoughts and your situation as it is. Remember, your thoughts are pictures that you paint in your mind. You paint them, and you put words around them yourself. You have the opportunity now to free yourself by taking on board the necessary discussions with partners or with yourself, because that Mercury aspect says that open communication will bring about progress. Now, what areas or situations are you not clear and decisive enough, and with which people do you need to clarify things? Say this to yourself: I am ready to look at my life as it is and trust in the process of resolving my fears. Now, that next card there, I think, does provide you with great relief, and let's have a look at it. Now, this is the Ace of the Mind.
quite straightforward. This, do you know, I think Aquarius, Pisces and Capricorn will be important to you here. But what's more important is that you do now achieve intellectual clarity. And there is an original thinking with you, brilliant powers of thought, almost as if there is a divine inspiration about. You'll have thoughts and ideas tumbling over each other. Now, this is a symbol, I think, also of the creative energy which is brought into being through your great mind power at the moment. And what you create with this clear mind is going to carry this greatness, this quality along visibly, and you'll be able to pass it on to other people. The energies contained here are able to be processed, brought into yourself, and they are now able to be fully used for your own particular benefit. You see, that energy that we looked at before, which is being pushed away, as I said, by this card here, well, that was acting as a brake on your journey towards success. Here, it is the case now that you have a clear mind, and there is about you also a transparency here, and there's no place to hide a dark heart in transparency. Well, that's good for you, because your heart is pure. This is also saying to you, if I may say so respectfully, that this is calling upon you to use your mind now to push you further towards success and abundance. And the best way to succeed is to have a specific and intent, a clear vision. Write down in one sentence specifically what your goal is, and then form a plan of action to take the small steps to get it there. And that helps you maintain clarity, action, vision, intention, clarity. They are the 4 foundation posts of success, and they will not fail you. But if I can reinforce this point, if I may, clarity and a goal which is specific is important, because it is a lack of clarity and a lack of a specific goal that creates chaos and frustration, and those emotions are poison to any living goal or person. Now, in this task, if I may also say, I think that you should just be yourself. Form your own goals as a result of this clarity. Do you know that people who lack the clarity, the courage, or the determination to follow their own dreams, they'll often find ways to discourage you and yours. Live your own truth and don't ever stop. Now, what is calling out to us to be allowed to speak next? I think it might be this. Let's have a look at it. 4 of Scepters. Well, this is a real balance that's going on here. Here's this another lady vampire here. What am I getting around this? Oh, look, do you know what I am getting? And it's almost as if she is the personification of Venus coming into the 3rd decan of Aries, the 10th to the 19th of April. Well, Venus, of course, is the ruler of Libra, and Aries is the first sign. Libra is the 7th, and so they are diametrically opposed. They're 180 degrees apart on the zodiac wheel. And so Aries is ruled by Mars, of course. Now, Venus also happens to, astrologically in any event, to be in detriment in Aries. And she's sitting next to Mars. But for some reason, I'm finding harmony here, that the aggressive nature of Mars is somehow or other being tamed by Venus here. I'm also getting up for you now that this is a time of completion, unifying things, tying things off. There's a possibility here of new beginnings. This is, without any doubt at all, Venus, of course, as you would know, is the lesser benefic in astrology, the greater benefic being Jupiter, and Mars is the lesser malefic, and the greater malefic being Saturn. So you've got the benefic sitting with the malefic, two very important planets, Venus and Mars, sitting here. And so I think there's some emotions around. This is definitely with the two of them together. And I do notice that when Venus is the morning star, as opposed to the evening star, she has a great degree of warrior princess to her. So I think there is a green light to success here for you. It's the foundations, the first stage to completion. Maybe someone's thinking of setting up a new home. Venus, the symbol of beauty, love, of passion, and of prosperity, and also sometimes the symbol where, as you would know, Venus is the circle with the cross beneath it. The cross beneath it refers to matter, being this circle is divinity, the cross beneath it is matter, and the vertical line is masculine, the horizontal line is feminine, and unrelatedly, but by the by, the vertical line is spiritual and the horizontal line is matter. This can make Venus very carnal and a desire to experience as much of the manifestation and everything that it has to offer as is possible. Well, here, of course, is combined with Aries, the principle of new beginnings, and I think that your heart is going to push forward and seek the development of the beautiful in new directions. Now, of course, before the new can arise, the old must be completed off. And any conflict of opposites must be resolved in a way which can further you on your way towards your highest goals. Tensions in relationships, you see, can work very positively when the individuality of each partner is recognized and respected, and this makes it possible for you to support one another going forwards. The Four of Scepters, the number 4, well, prosperity, foundation, progress, and power. Venus comes in and sits next to Mars. And perhaps in the mind of Venus, she looks at Mars and thinks, he was this huge mystery I wanted to take time solving. He had danger written all over him, and there was the risk of getting burned, but I wanted to play with the fire. Now, Mars, because of his nature, sees darkness everywhere, but she sees the stars. And she's thinking to herself, when we're here together in this earthly realm like this, forget about everyone else, because unlike the world, I won't disappoint you. And perhaps in every shared glance, a story of love unfolds. And Mars may say, with you by my side, I am inspired to reach heights that I never thought were possible. Your intellect sparks a fire in me. And that turns our conversations with each other into a dance of minds. And the gaze of Mars upon Venus, though almost sort of improper, probably is the most sensual thing he could do at the moment, because it has jolted her heart into a strange rhythm, leaving her unable to speak. And yet when she does speak, Venus says to Mars, "You think you're broken, but I wish you could see yourself the way I see you. Smart, strong, beautiful, imperfect by your own standards, but wonderfully perfect to me." Yeah, actually a very good combination, I think, all round is what I'm getting from this. But I do think that there is something that needs to be completed, despite a desire of you to move on to new things. Now, this could relate to your work or to new relationships, perhaps, or a new dynamic within an existing relationship. Now, it might also relate to yourself, of course, where one part of you wants to go in one direction, while another wants to stay where it is, and yet another wants to go in another direction. Yes, but nevertheless, something beautiful is making its way into your relationships. You might notice it first as the established, the usual way of doing things are called into question and discussed openly, because clarifying the old is necessary to bring about a new oneness. Now, are you prepared to accept your partner as he or she is, despite your differences? And what areas are in need of clarification or sorting out? Now, if there is some tension between you and somebody else, now is really a good time to sort that out, because completing the old frees you for the new. Now, I'm glad that Mars showed up there, because Mars I'm getting here also, and let's look at the picture here. Now, of course, it's open to you to look at these things however you might like, but I see her with a spinning wheel, and it's almost as if she's creating things. She is making her own future. Now, Mars, I see here, coming into the second decan of Capricorn. Now, that brings you, that great energy and assertion and vitality associated with Mars. And Capricorn is going to bring you ambition, practicality, and the ability to make things happen. Now, Mars happens to be exalted in Capricorn, so it's not destructive at all. It's very constructive for you. And so you will have the ability, I think, to really combine Capricorn's materialism with the energy and activity of Mars, which is going to mean that when you put time and effort into work, however broadly you want to define that, then things are going to turn out well. It's going to be successful. There's gradual progress here, a duty to yourself and self-confidence now. Now, there's something turning up, I think, in which your whole being is needed, and the full engagement of your energy is necessary now. Your mind, your body, and your spirit, they are going to be flying along together. The clouds of uncertainty have been taken away, so you have a vision of your goal. Again, I stress the importance of having a specific goal. When you have a specific goal and know what you want, it's amazing how simple your life becomes, because 80% of everything else that you're called to deal with, you don't have to touch. But this action of Mars allows you to just really drive over the top of any attempted doubts that may temporarily arise. This is the assurance of your gradual progression. So I think that there is here reward for your hard work and dedication, and your own skill and knowledge is going to get you forward. Really good outcomes for career, business, and practical matters in general, I would say. But ask yourself this: in what areas do you still hold yourself back? And in what areas could you be giving more of your energy? Find out and remain aware of where you want to set your full energies. Well, I think I might have given you the hint and say this to yourself: I am now ready to give everything and to receive everything. And that takes us finally, I think, and I'll deal with it rather quickly because we spent more time probably eavesdropping on Mars and Venus than perhaps we should have done. Let's look at this Queen of Knives. Geez, a lot of Libra around here, I think, is going to be very important to you, as I think is Virgo as well. Now, isn't it interesting that this should be here and touching upon this particular card where you have this intellectual clarity now, because it's going to allow you to cut through old masks and roles. You will be very rational, intellectual, objective. You're also going to be very graceful, very perceptive. I think you'll be intensely individualistic, but certainly there's a glamour around you, is what I see here. Very glamorous you will be. Both sexes, both genders. Confident and gracious here. Now, of course, she's not using this knife for nothing. She's using this knife to cut away those things that no longer serve you, which you'll be doing. You'll be separating yourself more and more from old roles and behavior patterns. Now, this might bring some pain with it, but pain is your friend. Pain allows you to move. Pain pushes you into a place where there is no pain. It forces you to get through. And again, this intellect around here, this is setting you free. Now, you do need to make an unbiased decision about a situation. I think you know what I mean. Compassion and empathy might try to distract you, but you've got to go with your head. It's a very intellectual time for you, not a time to beat around the bush about a situation or a person. It's a time to decide, to cut, to act, and have the courage of your convictions. Now, as opposed to these old roles that you are playing out, and playing out well, I must say, which ones of those do you most easily and most often hide behind, and are you ready to drop them? And look at yourself in different roles. I think you'll continue to play some, but you'll understand why. And you'll play them until you no longer see them as being something that you want to identify with. And say this to yourself, because this is definitely true for the moment, that my only duty in life is to remain true to myself. Fantastic spread of cards. All the better for having you here, of course.
Well, I told you that was an interesting deck, didn't I? And I hope you enjoyed the reading as much as I did by providing it to you. And unless I see you separately for a clairvoyant reading or for healing, then I'll see you again next month. And until then, though, remember one thing, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.